What's going on, sci-fi fans? My name is Ben and welcome back to the bench for another episode here on Sci-Fi Wednesdays. We've actually finished off a couple of builds and we're going to move on to a new project, and this is going to be hopefully kind of interesting and kind of different. So let's go ahead and take a look at what we're going to be building. And if you saw the thumbnail, you already know, but just in case you haven't, let's check it out. Now I picked this up off of Etsy and I've been really digging Etsy the last couple of months, and this is something that I was not expecting, but it is absolutely beautiful. This is a 1/48 scale roughly Delta 7 Aether Sprite Jedi Starfighter, and this is an absolutely beautiful model kit, and it is one of my favorite ships to come out of the Clone Wars era. So I saw this online, they were having a sale on it, I picked it up. It comes with all the parts and pieces, beautifully resin printed Jedi Starfighter, so I cannot wait to get into this thing and check it out. Now the level of detail is phenomenal, I absolutely love all the parts and pieces, but we do have to do a little bit of cleanup, which is expected for 3D print. I can get you guys a close-up here and you can check out some of the details. Very finely recessed panel lines, some raised detail here and there. It is meant for the Star Wars Legion tabletop game, so it isn't necessarily what you would call a scale model. But at the same time, the level of detail on this is outstanding. I really love all intricate piping, and of course the engines plus the cockpit is fully furnished. So yeah, very, very cool. Now this actually comes with a whole bag filled with all the parts and pieces, like for example, the canopy. And this is supposed to kind of clip down right there, but unfortunately the end is busted, so it doesn't stay. But that's okay because I plan on posing this open so you can see all the details. It also comes with, I guess what you would call blank off plates to go ahead and glue in right to the landing gear wells that allow you to just have it in a flying mode. And then of course we have the landing gears themselves with nice secure locating blocks. They fit right into where they're supposed to go. And we've got 2 main gears and 1 nose gear. So as you can see, they plug right in there, a little bit of super glue. It's going to be perfect. Very, very nice. Along with that, of course, we've got other parts and pieces. For example, we have 2 different heads for the R2 unit, and it would drop right in to the little socket right there. And you never know, I'm kind of contemplating maybe spicing it up a little bit, maybe adding in a magnet so I can rotate the head. Now the Delta 7 is armed with 4 guns. We've got them right here. They do require a little bit of cleanup, but as you will notice, they drop right into place and yep, fit right in there. And we might be able to drill out the gun port just so it has a little bit more interest to it. We've got 4 of those, beautiful detail. And we even have some more extra parts there for the cockpit. We've got the headrest that plugs in right around here. And it is a little bit unusual. It's got that pipe coming off the top of it, but I think that's what's supposed to be there because that's what I see in the references anyway. So we've got that part, and we also have a control stick, which is what you would just drop right into place, and we'd be good to go if we were going to have this open with no pilot. Again, beautiful level of detail. We would have to drill it out just slightly so we can get it to kind of fit down inside, but very, very cool. Now, speaking of a pilot, guys, we are actually given a Jedi to go ahead and fly our Jedi Starfighter, and I want to say this is probably Plo Koon. It looks like him anyway, and it's got a beautiful, beautiful print on this, and he drops right down inside the cockpit without much trouble. He also has a molded in flight stick, and he's in a position where he's reaching out to go ahead and push some buttons. So it's got a little bit of action to it as well. Drops right down inside, as you can see. It's got a little bit of some space, some movement in there, and you could have the canopy closed or open depending on what you wanted it to do. So I'm not sure if I'm going to use the pilot necessarily. The only issue would be the control stick. Since he is actually holding one, I would have to figure out how to mount the other one and remove it if I need to put the pilot in. But either way, it's a beautiful looking sculpt. Very, very happy to have one of my favorite Jedis. Now looking at the canopy again, like I said, I think this is slightly damaged because this little clip right there is supposed to kind of pressure fit down on top of this front binder. Actually allows you to open and close it without having to glue it in place. However, that doesn't quite stay here, so I think it got broken in transit. But I don't think it really matters because I wanted to see if I couldn't figure out a way to have this glued open and have the pilot maybe swappable in and out or whatever the case may be. So I'm kind of curious if I can do that. Plus you could be able to see in through the side or to the front of it if the canopy was open. Naturally, that is a little more difficult because this is a solid piece of resin. It's a shame it wasn't printed in maybe clear resin, so you could actually get that nice, lovely transparency. We might have to look into that a little bit later. But you know what, guys? Since this model kit is such a simple model kit to build, the main devil is going to be in the painting and in the base. So I thought we'd go ahead and jump into a real quick time lapse and just clean up some of those little support nubs, sand it down, maybe rescribe a couple of panel lines with my Tamiya panel line scriber, put in the guns, and then clean up everything. Right? We might as well. If that goes well, which I have a feeling it will, we're then going to come in, prime everything with Mr. Surfacer 1200. Once that is dry, I'm thinking we might want to appreciate with NATO Black. Go ahead and do some panel line accenting with some Tamiya deck tan, and then come in and go ahead and give it a nice coat of flat white. We'll see what happens, but we want to jump in there, get some of the parts and pieces installed, and get that much closer to getting this kit finished. So let's see what we can do. Let's get in there. Let's have some fun. All right, well, we are back, and as you can see, that didn't take long at all. We went ahead and cleaned up all the panel lines. We came in, we airbrushed everything with a nice coat of primer, then we pre-shaded with NATO Black. Also leaving the cockpit pure NATO Black as well, because I think that's a good base coat. And then we came in with a little bit of deck tan and airbrushed some panels here and there to give a little bit of contrast, and then overcoated it all with flat white. That, I think, is a really good move because now we're ready for the blue. As you can see, we have a little bit of a subtle shift in color, and we've got that lovely pre-shade showing through from the NATO Black. And again, this cleaned up beautifully. No complaints here whatsoever. Those little nubs from the supports came right off without much hassle. I even drilled out the gun ports just a little bit, so yeah, I'm loving it. This is awesome. Now we should probably discuss our paint scheme, and since I have Plo Koon as my little Jedi pilot, we're going to go ahead and paint up this as Plo Koon Starfighter, which is a really cool kind of a sunburst of blue and white, and I think that's going to be really fun to do. I found this picture online, printed it, and now I have it to work off of, so you can kind of get an idea of what we're going to do for our color scheme. And this, of course, will help us in figuring out the masking process to go ahead and get the white cleared up so we can add in that blue, make this kit really pop. So yeah, very helpful. Also, I've got the underside as well, so that should give us another great idea about what to paint blue, what to leave white, and of course the details around the engines and the landing gear bays and all that stuff. So pretty decent look. We've got some options, and it's going to be a great visual representation of the scheme we're going for. Now let's turn our attention back once more to the canopy. As I mentioned, this canopy is very nice. However, it is a solid piece of resin, so we have no transparency whatsoever. We're not going to be able to have it open or closed and still be able to see through it to get all that cool detail. And it's too bad too because it fits beautifully against the model. It is actually functional, either open or closed, so it is a great canopy. However, what I wanted to do is be open and be able to see through it into the details, and you just can't do it with this current piece. So my idea is to actually create a new canopy, and we're going to do that, fingers crossed, by vacuum forming. Now I went out, grabbed some spares out of my spares box, and I made up this little vacuum forming box. As you can see, it's got some pegboard up on top, It's got a box that I picked up off of Amazon. I actually had it lying around for a base. We drilled a hole in the end of it. We got everything sealed up, and hopefully it's airtight enough to allow us to plug a vacuum into the end of that. Take this piece, use it as a mold, get some PETG plastic that we can use to heat up, and hopefully flip on that vacuum, press the plastic down around the mold, and we'll have ourselves a replica of the canopy. At least that's my idea. If we can get this to work out, we might be able to go ahead and replace this whole piece with a transparent canopy so you can get an idea of what we've got going on in there. Not 100% foolproof here, but I want to try it out, so I think it's going to be kind of cool. But that's going to be it for us today, guys. I wanted to show you guys what we had on the bench for the next Sci-Fi Wednesday build, and this should be really, really fun to go ahead and work on. We've got the pre-shade, we've got the different panels, we've got the white on the outside. All we have left to do is paint the blue, and then we can assemble the landing gears, and well, the model is basically done. The one issue, of course, is the canopy, which we're going to be working on next episode. But for right now, we're just going to go ahead and call it quits. Can't wait to see how this comes out. And again, like I mentioned, the real difficulty is going to be in painting, and of course, it's going to be that base. Stay tuned. We're going to be back on the Starfighter next week. So until then, you know the drill. Go out there, get yourself some bench time, have some fun, build something cool, and we'll see you back here on episode 2 for Plo Koon's Jedi Starfighter here on Sci-Fi Wednesdays. Thanks for watching, everybody. Take care of yourselves, and we'll see you soon.